Hello everyone and welcome to Bevins Bricks, and well, today's video I'm going to do something a little different. Here's what I mean by that. I got a few different things that are going on, and so what I decided to do was to kind of do like a quick barn tour, if you will. So a lot of people are always asking to see various things that are in my barn, so I thought I would take a minute and try and get up close so everybody can kind of see that. So with that being said, stick around because it's coming up. Jumping right in from the tour, that is the entry door, and this is the first thing you always see when you walk into my barn. And no, I don't mean the toolbox, I mean my logo up on that wall. And I did that and designed that into this building specifically that way for a couple reasons. Number one, I wanted my logo to be the first absolute thing that you see once you walk into my barn. And number two, I wanted it to be in the center of the space. The reason I say the center of the space is because when I designed everything out here, I fully intended on having one end of the building set up just strictly as my workshop, which is what that is over there. And that's also why it has a tile floor, as it allows me to actually sit in my very comfortable chair and just kind of slide around the table and grab parts as I need them. And then I left this big sea of space, basically, even though it's filled with a lot of different debris. I'll be the first to admit it. It is a pigsty in here. But anyway, on the other end of the room is where I decided to display my table. Now, the reason that I have it so far away from my build space is because I fully intend on adding at least another minimum of 300 to 400 square feet to my build table. So over time, and I don't mean this is going to be anything that happens overnight, over the course of the next couple of years, my intention is to keep adding space and coming this way with that table until I'm probably about at this point in the room here. And with that being said, like I said, the total table size that I should have when I'm done actually building my city, which it's a Lego city, you'll never be done building. But the total size, I expect it to be around 600 square feet once I get it there. Currently, I am only at 160 square feet with the first display table. Now, coming back over here to the center, I just want to point out something. My birthday is coming up. It's actually this Wednesday on March 10th. And with that being said, my wife, being the awesome wife that she is, Angel, thank you so much for always thinking of me, sweetheart. Anyway, my wife decided to get me something useful for my barn. And here's what I mean by that. I don't just do Lego. I do a lot of different things. I work with tools. I'm an electrician by trade, so I am somebody that's always working with things and building things and doing things. And my wife actually found this toolbox at what I call Harbor Fake, but it's Harbor Freight store. And she got this for me because, well, the color matches my logo. And I absolutely love fluorescent green anyway. As a matter of fact, I was going to build a car years ago, and that was the color I was going to paint it, was fluorescent green and electric blue, even though sadly I never got to that point to build that. But the reason that she decided to do that for me was because, as you can see in my barn here, I always have piles of tools sitting everywhere, all over the place. So this was one of her attempts to try and help me get a little more organized and get the barn a little more neat. Now, coming back to the walls, again, I am a huge automotive nut, and I've played with everything from actual cars to RC cars, and I've even collected the old steel cars. But the biggest thing that was always in my life was VWs. And both of these display cases, just so you know, these are cases that I actually made, and yes, they do have glass windows. You can actually have glass windows cut at most glass shops. That is a hardened glass. And then it's just simply, that was a track that I found somebody was throwing away. So I made the cabinet to the size of those pieces of glass. Had that metal track that I found. It was actually, I got it for free, believe it or not, at a swap meet one time. And then I made these two cabinets to actually necessitate and fit all these different knickknacks that I have down in here. Now, as you can see, when I zoom up in here a little bit, now mind you, most of the stuff in these cabinets is kind of things that are kind of near and dear to my heart. And what I mean by that, it's things that my kids have done, pictures that my kids have given me, gifts that my kids have given me, and even things from my childhood as well. special memories for me and the wife and things of that nature. Even though it's more items in here than it is pictures, there is still a lot of different things in here. But for example, this is all car parts. All this stuff right here is Corvair car parts. This is a set of Weber carburetors that I got off an old Porsche 911. I should say Porsche 911. And that is absolutely one of my all-time favorite cars besides the VW Beetles, which, as you can see here, I do have a slew of them, both Hot Wheel size, because those are all Hot Wheels that you see in the display case. And then also the Matiso collector series. I believe they are 1/16 scale. And that's what you see there. But you can also see things like that particular VHS tape. That was a tape that was made of me when I used to play in rock bands back when I was a kid. And then like that boutonniere, for example, that was the boutonniere that I actually wore when me and my wife got married. And then down in front of it is a Ford logo, and that was off the first Ford I ever owned. But then, like I said, I do also have things like letters from my kids, pictures of my kids. That's a Baja that I built when me and the wife were dating. And there's actually a funny story behind that. That broke down in the middle of up north, and we had to walk for 4 hours to get back to civilization. Just to give you a little tidbit of that story, but it was not a fun trip. But after I got it fixed, it was actually a fun toy. But just trying to give you a little bit of background. And then like here, you can see I got the license plate frame, and then it's got my 3 kids and me and my wife, a picture of us on our wedding day. But you can also see that I, again, being a huge automotive nut, I have all the Lego Creator cars. I've bought every single one of them. I love them. And you'll even notice that I have a lot of different old signs, and I collect license plates, and pretty much you think of it or name it as far as automotive or anything that's kind of antique-ish, I love it. I even have, as you can see, the Ghostbusters car right here, but something else that I have is I have an old Star Wars lunchbox behind that. And this is a toy that actually came out this past year. This is a Ghostbuster toy, and it's part of my goofiness. I really enjoy pretty much, there we go, it's the button I'm looking for. I really enjoy anything pretty much 80s, like I always tell everybody. And with that being said, just anything that kind of strikes me or brings back memories of my childhood is the kind of things I collect. And then I have like this old, and it's not really an antique. This is a Hobby Lobby lamp, but this is an antique oil can. And I want to say, yeah, there's still oil in that, so I don't want to squeeze it. But I just really love that oil can. And I collect all kinds of neat little things. And like I said, a lot of it is related to my past. That's a set of carburetors that is for a Corvair. Those are side draft carburetors. And then here is the rest of my car collection. And trying to swoop back up, there is an antique. And believe it or not, everything is still in that kit. But that's an old highway emergency kit you could buy for your cars. And then you can see I have more signage and other things. And believe it or not, a lot of this stuff actually lights up. For example, let me give you an example. Flip the switch right here, and you'll see that my Ford sign is illuminated. And this is an actual very old Ford sign. I absolutely love this sign. If I'm not mistaken, that particular pattern was the 1938 Ford logo. Moving on from there, as we scan over this way, and you can see I still have more street signs, and I even have a traffic sign. And yes, that does illuminate. It is just battery operated though, and I really am probably looking at adding 110 volts to it as I can get a much brighter light bulb in it, as I think it would be a lot more attractive if I powered it up a little higher. But anyway, that is a working light. And then you can see here, this is going to be my bathroom at some point in time in the future. I just have not installed it yet. I haven't been in a big hurry because I can just walk up the hill, but it's there and it's doing what it's doing. But now this is my build area. And I absolutely love it. I love how it's set up. I can control the lights. I can change everything to a bunch of different colors. I can use my video game buttons is how I control my lighting. For example, right now I already have it preset depending on the number of clicks to change the overhead lighting depending on the mood and such that I am trying to portray for a particular stream or whatever. And then as you can see, I have a ton, and I mean a ton, of Star Wars stuff on display. I absolutely love Star Wars. And like I always try to tell people, I originally got into Star Wars, or into Lego again, about 20 years ago. And it was primarily because they started making Star Wars Lego sets. And with that being said, I jumped in both feet, and I have a ton. and I mean a ton of Lego Star Wars. Mind you, keep in mind, it is all mostly disassembled and in my bins, but I do actually have it. I'm just trying to show you some of the displays, and I can barely reach that one up there, but I'm hoping you can see it. That was a very old mail-away cantina set that I had. Then I have a few boxes on the wall for decorative purposes and such. And then even up top, I have a bunch of, those are all empty boxes up there, but I have a bunch of boxes on display with various Star Wars memorabilia up there as well as my swords. And all these swords are official swords. They do work, they do light up, they have noises, sound effects, and all that good stuff. And then you can see I have a bunch of other sets that are up here as well. Now, mind you, most of these sets, actually all those sets, are still empty, or full, I should say, and have not been opened and built. But there, again, there's more Star Wars memorabilia posted on those walls as well. Trying to come back down, this is something you guys have probably used to seeing, that particular backdrop. And because this is where I actually do the filming, and I have a whole bunch of lights. Right now, that light is off of its stand because I'm using that as my overhead camera stand until I buy a new one to actually use it full time for that. Now, it's kind of hard to film because for whatever reason, my camera is way up close. But as you can see, I have a slew of parts. I love it. But I just recently redid that side over there and added a bunch more shelves and drawers because I used to have empty boxes on that side and over on this side as well. But as you can see, I started to put some of these bins in here, and I don't like them. I'm going to be putting these smaller bins like I have over there, and I'm going to fill this whole cavity in over here as well with those same bins because I think it'll make it a more usable and good space to be able to build from. But again, still really, really happy with my build space. And then here is my studio. This is usually where I'm sitting, and I have two TVs up in front of me. It tries to help me catch everybody's comments when I'm doing live streams, but let me tell you, even having both of those TVs set up in front of me, it still gets very hard to try and catch every comment during the live streams. Moving away from that particular area over there, I have a ton, and I mean a ton, of action figures and other Star Wars memorabilia. Now, again, this is why I normally don't really talk about or even want to show off my barn, because I know a lot of people don't want to see all this stuff, but since I'm constantly asked to do a barn tour, I thought I would share. And again, I do have a slew of Star Wars stuff, including Star Wars Lego sets, all setting up all over the place on all my walls. And as you can see, I have a slew of action figures. And something I want to point out, no two action figures are the same. This is just every action figure from the Green series. And then as you look down the wall, and I will take a closer look up on all that, it's different series of action figures throughout the years. But I also have on this shelf, these are all my comic books. And most of these comic books are late 70s, early 80s. I do still buy comic books here and there because I want to point out, for example, this is a comic book quite literally from just last year. So I am still constantly adding to that collection as well. And then you can see I have another display of Star Wars stuff over here. And then coming back, mind you, all the way down on this bottom shelf is actually comic books. So I have a ton, and I mean a ton, of comic books. But then you can see I have more. There's more Lego right there. And then I have a lot more of the actual Star Wars action figures and all that on display up here as well. And this would be, this was the series that came out for the re-release of the movies, and then also the newest movies. And again, everything here, there is no duplicates throughout it. You can actually look through them all the way through, and no two are the same. It's just a bunch of those particular action figures. And then I had a small display that I set up over here because I was kind of trying to show people how you can display your Lego sets right when you walk in, and you can see that my sign is illuminated. And I thought it would be a neat feature because on this particular sign, it's turned on and off with a standard switch. What it is the cover plate, though, gives it that effect like an electric chair to shock somebody. And here is a Stormtrooper kit that I had bought a long time ago. I had to modify, alter, so on and so forth. Believe it or not, I can actually wear that, and I have wore it even in one of my videos. I'll put a link to that video right here if you're actually interested in seeing that. But coming over here, just again, this is the Black series, and also some of the original series, the vintage series of action figures is the series that's up top there. And then you can see that I just have just another slew of action figures all the way down with a ton more comic books on the bottom shelf. And then I have more spaceships and Lego sets and all that good stuff everywhere. And again, I want to point out that all the Lego sets that you see on display on these shelves, they are sealed in box. And then we have some more automotive stuff. We have some more. This is back where the Lego starts to kick in, and this is what I mean. The bottom shelf is still more comic books. And again, these are all from the 70s and the 80s. For anybody that's a comic book fan, you might even recognize some of these. Atari Force, that was a classic. But anyway, then I have a bunch of Lego sets, again, that are all sealed in the box. And a lot of people might ask, why do I have so much Lego and so many sets that are still sealed in the box? And what it is I quite frankly have a ton of ideas for a lot of the different sets, and I just haven't got around to doing them yet. And then you can see right here is where the start of some of my backlog of Lego actually is. And then ready for your jaw drop because, well, I have entirely on this entire back side of my table is my backlog of sets. What I generally do is I have most of this, as you can see, is the creator line. And then I have some Lone Ranger starting there. And then we go to the Lego movie sets. And then we go over here to some more Star Wars. And then as we move along, we get past the Star Wars. This is kind of a hodgepodge. And what I mean by that is this is like my DC Marvel stuff. And it's also Ninjago sets that are my backlog. And then this section right here is my Harry Potter, because I have a ton of Harry Potter sets that are still sealed. And then we come over here and we are into the City line. So everything that over here is City except for one Ninjago set, because I just recently got that. And then you can see I do have the Ninjago City Docks, and then I have Ninjago City. And I have it somewhere around here, but I do also have the Ninjago Gardens. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it is in that box right there is where the Ninjago Gardens are. But again, scanning through the walls, you can see I have various trains, various sets from throughout the years that I haven't built. I know that is a big want for some people is the Joker Manor. And it's quite simply, I just have not had time to build it all. And so what I do until it gets built, it goes on display. And once it's built, then I'll rip it apart. Now here's kind of a collection, and I'm trying to get back so you guys can see it a little bit better. This is some of my helmets. I love to collect the Hasbro Black Series helmets, as I really love costuming and messing around and wearing and screwing around and playing with a lot of that stuff. As a matter of fact, you can see my Stormtrooper helmet there on the ground. But I do wear these. I wear these in several videos. I really, really love those. And then moving over here, we're getting back into kind of various memorabilia. Some of this stuff, for example, and I need to get the action figures and put them on display here. This is a vintage, and I say vintage because this is from when I was a kid, Indiana Jones playset from the, I believe it was the Temple of Doom. And then I have some of my statues and things on display here. Those are some 12-inch action figures. Then I have some more 12-inch action figures displayed over there. I have some more statues and other various things throughout here. This is my collector series, Millennium Falcon. I absolutely love this set. And a lot of people always ask me, are you going to buy the... trying to show you some of the details on the inside of this. A lot of people always ask me, am I going to buy the Lego Millennium Falcon? And don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful set, but I really can't see paying that much money for it because me personally, I love this particular display set better. And I would rather have that over the Millennium Falcon Lego set. Not that the Millennium Falcon Lego set's bad, it's just I have that and I have that on display is why I haven't purchased it. But as you can see, I do have the Death Star, and I absolutely love that build. And then you can see a lot more of the Lego memorabilia here. And then we were getting back to some of my collectibles and things and just images of stuff from my past. And I have a lot more signs and license plates and all that going on there as well. That's my huge TV. I love that TV. And then I have a lot more signs there. and then trying to show you again, here is the Lego City that I know everybody absolutely loves. And I'm just really loving building it, having a lot of fun. I know it's taking me a long time, but like I always try to remind people, is I do have a full-time job, so it does take me a lot of time to do a lot of different things, but I'm enjoying the process, and that is what actually matters, at least to me anyway. Trying to give you guys one more kind of final scan of the Lego barn. And yes, this is big. A lot of people ask me, how big is my Lego barn? There's my green screen. But and just, it's very easy. It's 30 by 60. So my Lego barn is 1,800 square feet, and it's 1,800 square feet of my personal collection from my entire life. And I could not be happier with having this building. I absolutely love it, and I could not be happier with how it turned out, even if it is always in a state of constant disaster, because I'm constantly making videos and doing different things out here. And that is about it for this video. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of give a real quick scan of the room, kind of show everybody what I have going on out here, as I'm constantly asked to do a room tour, and I thought I would take a minute and try and do a really quick one. I will do another room tour a little bit later after I get it a little bit more clean in here, because I'll be the first to admit it is still actually kind of a pigsty, even though it's cleaner than it has been in quite a while, but I'm still trying to sort and clean a lot of different things up. And I just wanted to make a quick video to show everybody what I have going on out here, because it is a very common question that I'm asked, is when I'm going to make a room tour, and well, here it was. But anyway, as always, thank you for coming to Bevins Bricks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share below, and hopefully we'll see you next time on Bevins Bricks.